Welcome to the Jeff Knows Inc. Entrepreneurial Show with your host, Jeff Lopes.
We are live on the Jeff Knows Inc. podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Lopes. Ecstatic to have on today, Bas Rutten. What is up, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm sitting in my car. Look at this. I parked the car and I go, let's do this interview. I was supposed to be somewhere, but I was too late, so I figured I'll do it now.
This is awesome. This is gonna be tons of fun. Let's throw it upside down. Let's start off with you growing up. When was your first initial interaction with martial arts? What age and what was it?
12 years of age, and it was Taekwondo. And it was with I trained with the adults because I was bullied a lot because of my skin disease and my asthma. So, and then finally somebody took me under the swing and I started training with him with the adults. And that was it. A couple of months later, I started beating the adults up. And then they started talking about me in the dressing room, giving me, oh man, did you see that kid, Bas? He's crazy. He just dropped Jack, and everybody's laughing. And then I got into a fight with the biggest bully in my class, in my school. And I knocked him out with one punch. And that's when all the bullying stopped. So for years, I've been trying to talk. And then finally, when I dropped the bully, but I was 14.
Yeah.
So 12, I asked my parents, but 14, it took me 2 years to convince them to do martial arts. But one punch stopped 95% of the bullying. It's amazing how that works.
I love that. I love it. So growing up, what was your next interaction with martial arts? You went from Taekwondo to what was your next martial art you actually dove into?
So what happened was, because I knocked him out and he broke his nose in the process, the police showed up. So my mom and dad, that was a confirmation that martial arts was violent. Now, in their defense, I never told them I was bullied because my mother had so much work with me already. She would mummify me every night, put creams on, I would rip it off and do it again. And I was sick a lot, in bed at home. I have to do everything in bed because I couldn't breathe. My asthma was extreme asthma. Like 7 days in bed, not able even to eat or to drink, because you can't freaking breathe. So that's why I didn't want to bother them with it. So once they took me off immediately after the knockout, I waited till I was, I believe, 20 or 21 when I moved out of the house. And that's when I started picked up. And there was a form of karate called Shintai karate. Had some little throws in there, but very basic stuff. And then very soon, like within 6 months, I wanted to compete full contact. So I signed up for Thai boxing as well. And then I think 4 months later, I had my first Thai boxing match.
I love it. So when was your actual first interaction with MMA, getting into it? Was it through Pride or was it prior to that?
Oh, prior to that, we started before the UFC. It was called Free Fight at the time. It's so weird, I had no clue I was ever going to fight again because I lost the fight in Holland, which I shouldn't have taken because it was 3.5 weeks I had to train and I was partying for 3 years, but I was drunk when I said yes to the fight. And then when they made the posters and put me on the posters, I go, oh, I can do it because I knocked all the other guys out. So, but this guy was really good. Yeah. So, and then I'll tell you, a lot happened. I shouldn't have fought the fight, but I lost the fight. And everybody spit me out. And so I always told everybody I will never fight in Holland again because it's such a loser. What a loser thing to do, You lose one fight, and suddenly you're the worst fighter. Before I was the best, So then my wife told me, says, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan. This is in '92. And I go, no, I'm not going to fight anymore. She said, I know that. But you said, Holland, you're going to go to Japan. I wasn't doing anything in martial arts. And then in '93, I think in August or something, a little bit before July, they give me a call. They say, you got to come to Amsterdam. There's 2 guys here for a new organization called Pancraes. Yeah. And they're looking for fighters. And I had a tryout. I had a scuffle with some of his champions, one of his champions who tried to knock me out. So I knocked him out with a head kick, which looked spectacular. And those guys were pointing at me. They said, we want him. And that was it, September 21st. Never forget, it was my first fight in Japan in '93. Yeah.
And how long were you active in Japan for from there on?
I fought in Japan till '97. So 4 years. But understand, I fought 31 fights in that time.
So you're very active.
I was a very active fighter, yeah. 31 or 30. No, I think 31. So, yeah, it was like the first year I had 9 fights, and the second 8. And that was crazy, because if you're not injured, might as well keep on fighting. You're still in shape. You don't have to really go through everything again. You just keep training.
So your moments in Pride, can you give me 1 or 2 little stories of moments in Pride that just put a smile on your face when you sit back and reflect on them?
A smile.
Or a good memory.
A good memory. Well, a good memory is always Fedor and Mirko Cro Cop, right? That fight, the way it was hyped, the way it was presented. But unfortunately, they did not see this in America. I hope you can see it online somewhere. The packages that these Japanese made always about these fighters.
Yeah.
Oof, so cool. And then you saw Mirko Cro Cop in a high-tech gym like Ivan Drago, bang, 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 kick a clean bash, clean everything. And then Fedor, he's running in the snow. And he has rusted kettlebells. He's swinging around, and it goes back to Fedor. But that Fedor, to Cro Cop. And Cro Cop is suddenly at a river, and at a grave, and there's a river, and there's corpses floating in the river. And you go, what the heck is going on? And he sits at the grave of his dad who passed away in the war. And I mean, they built this whole freaking story. And, I mean, when he came up, I got goosebumps now. When he came up, he was crying. Cro Cop had tears in his eyes. He just saw the package that they did on his father and him. It was. And then that fight, and all these fights with Sakuraba and O'Gara and Cro Cop and Fedor and Quinton Rampage Jackson, the freaking slam. I mean, it's a nonstop thing. It was crazy. One of the funniest thing was Hein Grace. Rest in peace to him. We walk in this place, and he's some crazy guy too, man. That's why we clicked so well. And we walk in the Saitama Super Arena. Yeah. And he's walking there with some people, and I'm walking with Mauro behind him, and suddenly he breaks loose from the group, and he walks to the fire alarm, and he pulls the fire alarm. And we're like, this shit goes falling out of the ceiling and the whole place. And I go, who does that? It was both the same thing, but it was the most funny thing. So that's one of my funniest moments that I saw that. I go like, I never expected somebody to do that just before a fight. Hey, click. That's it. I think seems like a fun thing to do, But that's why I love that guy so much. It was awesome.
What about in the competition realm for yourself? Give me one good memory or one epic moment of you in competition that just you sit back now and like, wow, that was such an important turn in my career or something like that.
For me, it was the rematch against Funaki because Funaki beat me the first time. Yeah. And then I became a completely different fighter. After the last time I lost against Ken, I was 3 times by submission. So now I said, this is it. I said, I'm going to focus on the ground because I didn't do that. I didn't have anybody. Yeah. But I found one guy and I started training 2-3 times a day, and I flipped everything. I mean, my next 8 fight. So I lost the fight by submission, and then my next 8 I won by submission. And now people were like, holy crap, what's going on? It's just, I loved it. And, when you love something, you do it a lot, and then you automatically become good. So that's what was happening. And so then when I fought Funaki for the second time, because he got me in a toe hold, and I always tell the people at home, I say, don't let that name fool you. I saw a guy break his shin bone with a toe hold. Yeah. It's not like they hold your toe.
No,
it's
no.
a freaking crazy move. And it hurt me a lot. And there was always this, he was going to beat me again. And then I was the champion. So he came in to fight for the belt, and this time I knocked him out, and it was a tough fight too. It was like, I mean, he came up like 5 times. There were 8 counts in Pancraes. So I would drop him, and then he would get back up, and then drop, and then we'll get back. And the whole audience started chanting for him, Funaki, and then he would get up again. I go, shit, here we go. Because I was starting to get tired. I was freaking unloading on this guy, and every time somehow he stood up, and then at the end I grabbed him by the hair. I remember that really tight, and I drilled my knee in his face as hard as I could, and it worked. He stayed down this time, It was a crazy fight. They always say it's for me, it was my best fight, but also for him, it was his best fight. Because if you look at it, it's like, how does he get up? It's like Jason, the 13th, Friday the 13th. And I go, they stand up again, and I go, what the heck, dude? I had my palms and my both knees. So
you're trying to show me your knees there?
Yeah, I think so. No, I was trying to show my knees. I will be very stupid, but I am very stupid. So sometimes I might do that. I'm sitting behind the steering wheel, but it was just black and blue. It was crazy. It was really crazy.
So your body went through a lot with all your knee injuries and injuries and all that stuff. When did you start? Like, was it like something that accumulated over the years, or your knee injuries? When did they actually start taking such a toll on you?
The worst injury was the tendonitis, and I shouldn't say tendonitis. It's something that I have both in my arms here, and it's a form of tendonitis, but it's insanely painful. And when that happened, a few fights that, like, if it would happen, let's say I muscle out of an arm bar, or I hit a bag really hard, and I feel like a little, like, it's a really weird thing, click, I feel, and I go, oh shit, here we go. And then you have about 45 minutes, And then the pain comes, and that pain is almost intolerable. And there's nothing you can do because there's no pain medication you can take. Well, actually, for my very last fight, that's why I tested positive for the Vicodin, because of all these pains that I had. So but normally you don't want to take it because it slows you down. You don't want to cloud your mind. So that's why I took that thing at 10 o'clock in the morning, and my fight was in the evening. I think it will be out of my system, but apparently it still tested positive for it. But so if that happens, say 3 weeks before a fight, then every workout you have 45 minutes to work out. It's clock, or you can set a clock on it, and then like the 46 minutes, that's it. And then you go home. You lose weight from the pain. You can't eat. It's so painful. I don't know. It like comes from the inside out. And when that happened a few times, then it went a few fights away, and then it came back. And you really don't want to train anymore. Like normally, I would always look forward to start training, working out. The morning, first thing I do, training today. I would love it. And but once that kind of pain comes, it's not fun anymore, and you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about how many children do you have?
3. And a grandson.
And a grandson here. How old are your children?
31, 25, and 20.
What does fatherhood mean to you?
I think it's very important. It's if I look at my girls and I see how they how respectful they are to other people and what they do and how sweet they are, you did something right. Needless to say, that's my wife, a big part in it. But I am always been that guy as well. And they will never believe. Somebody says, "Oh, your daughter bullied somebody." I can give you a guarantee it's not. That will never happen. Because I really made them aware of because it happened to me. You will never do that to somebody because this is going to be really bad. When you come home. So, but they're such a sweethearts, and just that, and hearing people. And for instance, my middle daughter, she worked at the gym for a while, and then every single person in the gym comes up. They're like, "Oh my God, your daughter, man, she's such a sweetheart." And so those are good feelings. You did something right, and that's what I like. And now with the grandson,
I was going to ask you that.
Girls.
Yeah. So how is it being how is it with the grandson?
That's freaking awesome, because unfortunately, like my oldest daughter, she lives in Holland.
Yeah.
So a couple of times a year, like 4 times a year, I go over there, and then I'll see them for a week, for 7 days, visiting the family. So, but they were officially, they're going to come next year. They're going to come to America.
Okay.
So then I get my hands on him. I'm going to lose his passport. I start training him, and because he's a natural heavyweight. So it's going to be good.
I love it. One gentleman that obviously you had a huge impact on his life, and it was funny that it's just flipping through Instagram, and I saw he did. I don't know if you wanted to call it a poem or a song or a rap. I don't know if you saw it. Dwayne Ludwig.
Yeah.
That was so cool. I was listening. I was like, oh my God, this is special.
Yeah.
What does it mean to you when you hear something like that?
That's huge. I mean, I played that thing already 5 times just by myself, and I got tears in my eyes. I told him, "Dude, this is so awesome." I did, and then he said, he asked me, "Are you okay with me posting it?" I go, "Oh, okay, yeah, of course." But then I want to post it as well. I want to show people. Because it's, that's, again, you did something right. He's got also 2 sons, and one son is also Bas Ludwig. So then you had an impact. And on a guy like Dwayne, and I always say this in an interview, if they ask about Dwayne, because all these stories with alpha male, dude, I was there. I knew exactly what he said I was going to do. I was going to be there for a year and a half. I'm going to go back to my family in Colorado. It was all prepaid. It was all preset. 100% guaranteed, not 99.9.
Yeah.
And so I always said, if I had a son, I wish he would be exactly like Dwayne, because he's the most straight guy. He's yes and no, and it doesn't matter if you're wrong, you're wrong. He's not going to swindle around it. If you get tested in martial arts at the bank system, and you don't know your crap, you're not going to pass. This is not like a karate gym where everybody passes and gets their belts. I know and don't know the technique. There's a quality control, so yeah, and he's very, people go like, "Oh, but I thought I passed." No, you didn't. You did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. Work on that, the next time we're going to go again. But that's how you make people better, and unfortunately in this day and age, I mean, everybody needs a prize, in school, there's no losers anymore. I mean, you set your kids up for failure.
I hate it. I hate the participation ribbon, right? I can't stand it. Can't stand it. Yep. Exactly what you're saying. It's just everybody's led to be failures, to be losers when they grow up.
That's it. You're not used to anything anymore. You can't handle stress anymore. They need a pill for everything. I mean, crap, sometimes what you hear in these universities now, and I hope for you guys it's not in Canada. I mean, okay, I give you an example. There was so much when Trump won at the time. Apparently, we heard that these were so freaking out, these kids and teachers in universities, they had to go outside hugging trees and playing with Play-Doh. And then petting Shetland ponies, like these little tiny ponies. And I go like, oh my God, what if you're a guy and a woman looks at that? What woman wants to marry a guy like that? And I'm not political. I'm just saying, if you're really getting in stress and you have to pet a tree or hug a tree or play with Play-Doh, something is wrong with you, man. You know, fix the problem, learn how to deal with it, get stronger. That's how we do it. People.
I love it. I love it. I love it. The Karate Combat League. What's your involvement with that? Are you ownership, or is it just you're just part of supporting it?
Yeah, no, I'm also I'm a part of the company now because they actually happened recently because they were very happy because I was there with them from the beginning.
Yeah.
And we just have a really good relationship. I think the show is a phenomenal show. You know, it's looking like we're going to go to live shows now. So I think it will only grow. Especially we try now, for instance, the guy who got knocked out in the Olympics, right?
Yeah.
The guy who knocked him out, he fights already for Karate Combat. So what they're trying to do right now is they're going to see if they can fight full contact on Karate Combat. So because now the Olympic guy won a gold medal by getting knocked out. It was like the weirdest.
Yeah.
Weirdest decision. Can you imagine him waking up and he goes like, "Did I win?" He goes, "Yeah, you won by knockout." Did I knock him out? No, you got knocked out, and that's why you have a gold medal. I go like, oh, okay. And then the other guy, you won by knockout, yeah, but you lost. Yeah, okay.
It's crazy.
It's the dumbest thing.
Where do you see that league going? Because it does have a lot of potential. Has a huge potential.
Yep, I see it going big. We got these Olympic level athletes on there. Soon they're going to open the door also for other guys. You know, that we say okay, but right now they're just catching up to the rest of the world to this, because you have to understand that point karate is a completely different thing. You know, it's like you see, if you watch the first shows from Karate Combat, you will see the evolution. You see a guy literally punch and then he stops, and then the other guy just keeps hitting him. You go, oh shit, yeah, he forgot. You know, he needs to make combinations. So he gets one kick and he connects and he stops because he scored a point. You see, and then suddenly all of them, they start Thai boxing. I mean, everybody start doing combinations on the side.
Yeah.
So everybody rise up. So I think they give it one more year, and then they're going to open it up for also other people, I believe, other strikers.
Yeah, I love it. I love
karate fighters.
Yeah, so it'll be open up like that. I love that. I love that. So you guys are hoping to go to live shows. That's the big goal for the event.
Yeah, I think with everything, you know, with the gambling, with everything, nowadays it's a big thing. I mean, look at the last fight with Jake Paul, and you know, it's about gambling, and of course, it's Barstool has promoted the whole thing.
What's your mindset with something like that?
I have the utmost respect for guys like that.
Okay.
No, because they it's not like they trained for 3 months and they're going to fight, they're going to try it out. This guy really puts the work in. For 3 years, he's busy. He's really trying to get the signs under control. And, you know, and people can scream whatever they want, but look what they did to them. You know, you look at the packages, they were completely wild guys, both of them, you know, his brother too. And then, you know, this kind of put him in line. And, you know, and he was talking about that he was a bully and he used to bully people. And then he, you know, and it was just the wrong thing to do. And then boxing pulled him out of that. Now, I mean, that's a great message. It's the same as with the Kardashians. Yeah, how it started, and people are still complaining about that. But it's not about that. It's not where you are. It's where you're going to go, right? And where they go right now, I think they do a lot of good stuff. You know, positive vibes out there. You know, it's all about love and peace. You know, there's nothing bad. There's no profanity. I mean, I enjoy it when people flip around like that, because we all did. It's so easy to judge at people and point fingers, but then, you know, like Jesus said, he would committed no sin, let him cast the first stone, right? And then if you start thinking, yeah, you know, a lot of people do a lot of things wrong. We know that, whether it's not being not a good dad or not good father or not husband, or, you know, and that's just in the family, but there's a lot of stuff that you can do wrong.
Yeah.
So get your life in order before you start judging others, I always say.
Yeah, I love that. So it is true. I mean, if you look at these both brothers, I mean, they're putting the time in, they're putting the training, they're putting the effort in. I think a lot of people, a lot of that that hatred comes from jealousy, right? Because they have a platform that people are throwing money at because they've built this platform for themselves, right, through YouTube and all that. So I mean, I think a lot of that stems from jealousy more than anything else, right? And that's just human nature in general, right? If you can't be something, you're gonna. I mean, most people try to hate it and bring it down because they know they can't achieve it, so they're going to try to bring you down along the way. So I think that's just how it goes. Acting. Let's talk a little about your acting. When was the first time you actually did anything acting wise, whether it's like movie wise or anything like that?
I did a TV show called 18 Wheels of Justice. I hope they don't have the video of it because it was horrible. I was a bank robber.
How long ago was that?
That's a long time ago. I mean, we're talking 98 or something, 99. And there was the guy from the Coca-Cola light break, the guy who took his shirt off, right? And all these women from the commercial.
Yeah.
And that guy became his own show. And he was a really good guy, nice guy. And they were acting, but I never acted before, you know? And it was like almost like my first fight. I memorized everything. I knew everything. But then I was a bank robber. So they put a wig on me and the shades. And it was a Thursday. And it was going to be a long weekend. So they were going to be, after my shot, they were going to be, everybody was going to be free for like 4 days. So everybody wanted to go home. Yeah. Right. So I'm standing there and I start sweating and the wig starts itching and the glasses start sliding down to my nose, you know, and I'm thinking out and it goes, and action. And I go, what's the first line? I completely lost it right away, right? So this goes on and I'm losing it. So now I mess up a thing. And then the whole team goes, you know, like that. And I lost it, dude. I turned around. I go, are you guys freaking serious? I'm dying over here. Freaking help me out. I'm nervous. You know, this is not helping. You want to go home? Don't do that. You know? So then everybody started laughing because it made it funny. Yeah. And then, of course, the next take, I nailed it right away. My nerves were out because of that explosion that I did. And then thankfully everybody could go home. But it was crazy.
Do you enjoy that, or you just do it for the heck of the fun of it?
I do for the fun. I really enjoy it. Now I do. You know what helped me a lot was going in front of a camera live on Prize Fighting Championship.
Yeah.
Inside MMA, live shows. Then I started acting. Then I did a short comedy and when I started, I was the star, so the lead. And that won first prize at the New York Film Festival. And actually, that movie got me into Here Comes the Boom because, of course, Kevin pitched me, Kevin James, but the Sony said, no, he's the fighter. That's a big part, you know, it's a supporting actor part. He said, no, what's this? And he showed that short movie, and they said, okay, yeah, he can do it. So that's my savior that I made that Kingdom of Ultimate Power, it's called. It's the
what's it called?
Kingdom of Ultimate Power.
Okay, very cool.
This really weird Russian guy, Vlad Rivka is my name, and I find a writer and I try to let him write a story that's pretty much unwritable because it's like the most insane ideas, you know. But the guy is so afraid of me because I'm a fighter, and he's so afraid of me, so he tries to make some stuff up. It's really funny, so I think it's funny. So.
Do you have anything set up lined up in the near future? Lined up for any acting?
I was going to, when the whole COVID thing happened, I was just going to a different country to do a badass movie, a number 2 of one. I can't say which one, but the first one did really well, and I was looking forward to that because Here Comes the Boom was my first big in a comedy, and now I wanted, you know, this was going to be a badass part, in a big movie. So I'm really hoping that it's still going. I heard the director by now did another thing in between, but not that movie. So with a little luck, when they start filming, I'm still going to be in it. So we'll see.
Let's talk a little bit about your lung trainer. You said it's coming out September 2nd, which is just around the corner. What's it all about? Is this your second version of it, or your first version of it?
Well, this is actually a third. This is a long story, man. We've been attacked by I don't know, evil, whatever it is. I mean, I ordered a new model in August 2020. So it's been over a year. Yeah, it's been crazy, and it's been really killing me because I put 7 months were sold out. We have nothing, and we were selling really well because the things it does for your lungs and for your breathing is just it's insanity. I mean, it cured me from in 2011. I came up with it. I came up with it when I was 14, actually, because of doing track and field. And because I was doing track and field, I had my asthma attacks as well. So running was always the worst for me. and I was going to do decathlon. I was pretty good at a lot of stuff already.
Yeah.
But running, of course, was always my worst, worst part. But every time after an asthma attack, I would break my running times if I would resume track and field. And I couldn't understand why that was. And then I went to the doctor's office and I saw this drawing of a pair of lungs on the wall in a frame. And there I realized that the infection is not in your lungs. The infection is the airways that go to the lungs. There's two airways.
Yeah.
And it showed an infected airway and it showed a healthy airway. And that was it. I go, oh, man, I've been working out my lungs, because at the time I thought my lungs were still doing the work, but it's not. Lungs are just two bags. Your muscles, your breathing muscles breathe.
Yeah.
But anyway, I thought, I've been working out with resistance. So then when the asthma is gone, I got more stamina. Why don't I come up with something that has an air intake that I can restrict the air intakes? This is the first auto trainer, believe it or not. When I was little, I put this little washer in front of my teeth and I would try to breathe into it. But it's super dangerous, of course, because it shoots in your lungs with that, you know? So I really realized, no, Bas, you shouldn't do that. But, you know, I started thinking. And then I made a prototype in 2011. And in 3 weeks, and understand this, every single fight I had to open my lungs in the dressing room. If I'm sitting in this car and I sneeze violently twice, I need to open my lungs. But a lot of asthma patients have that.
Yeah.
And in 3 weeks, it was gone. And I go, there's no way. So I sent it to my buddy in Holland, and he calls me back. He says, I want to sell him here. I said, what's going on? He says, my asthma's gone, because I knew he had asthma as well. So now it started catching fire, but still people, it looks really stupid. It's a little plastic thing, and people go like, what is it doing? But then Dr. Belisa Vranic, she's a world-renowned breathing expert. And she invited me to her office on Fifth Avenue in New York. And I came there, and the first thing she did was measuring my chest expansion. I don't know why she's doing that, because your breathing muscles, the more you can expand, the easier your lungs fill up, of course, right? So she breathed out, breathe in, and she goes like this. She says, nah, there's no way. Do it again. And she does it again, and she gets weight. And she walks out, and she goes back with another doctor. And he goes, if I don't bring him, if I don't show him, he's not going to believe it. I mean, we've never measured any numbers like this. And then they realized it was because of the O2 trainer, my lung training device. You're training your breathing muscles so you can expand more. And then she put it in her book, and then people started. Now pulmonologists start buying it. Yeah, now it started to do very well. Hey, by the way, I just saw that in 1969, the alarm just popped up. Rocky Marciano, the great Rocky Marciano, passed away. So we got to remember him. Rest in peace today. But that was it. You know, it started growing.
So from September, I mean, from last year till now, what's the holdup? What happened? Is the manufacturing?
Yeah, what happened was, we were making good money, and I invested all that money in a new model, about a much more technical model. Yeah, and that was it was apparently, it's very hard to make. COVID completely destroyed the whole injection mold industry and its injection molds. I mean, it's a lot of money, man. We're not talking about a compression mold for $12,000. We're talking over $100,000, a lot. Yeah. So way over. And that's just the injection mold. But thankfully, 4 months ago, I saw this. I said, this is going to go wrong. What if it's not going to work? You know, I invested all the money. Everything is for free. I got a loan. I got everything. This is going to be crazy. So I came up with another one, another investment, another 80 grand. And that was for another model that I have. And that model, it seems like that is going to be ready next week before the other one. So thankfully, I can catch it with this. Yeah. And it's going to be just fine. But boy, man, yeah, it's been a freaking ride. But
yeah, hey, I mean, entrepreneurship is like that, right? So you have ups and downs, wins and losses, right? And it's just the way the world is. How long have you been married for?
Well, in February, coming up with 30 years together. So yeah, she's Dutch. She was way before me, before everything started. Like I said, in 92, I wasn't even thinking about fighting. I had no control, no direction in life whatsoever. And she told me like 8 months before it happened, you're going to be a famous fighter in Japan. And this is also crazy. So we go to Japan, then I started, fighting. And then a year into that, she has that same look again. I go, okay, now what? She goes, we're going to move to America. You're going to be in the TV business. And out of the blue in 97, many years later, we decide to go to America. I got a show on TV for 9 years. I mean, it's really crazy. Yeah. So she's always been very, very close to me. We're best friends, and we're really connecting.
I love that. Yeah. And what do you think is your success to keep? I mean, we talk about being in Canada. Like, I've been an entrepreneur for 26 years. When you're looking at, for example, in Canada, I've been married for 18 years, and entrepreneurs in general, 62% in Canada end up in divorce. Athletes, what has kept you two together?
Well, people confuse happiness with pleasure, right? They do this all the time. They think, oh, the new iPhone is going to make me happy. No, it's not. It's going to give you pleasure. And that pleasure is going to be gone when the new model comes out. Then once you start focusing like that, you're going to go, and that's the same with women. You come in and you go, oh, the sex is great, but that's going to disappear. Well, it's not going to disappear, but it's not going to be like it is in the beginning. And if your whole relationship is based on that, and then when that turns down a little tiny bit, starts slowing down, then there's nothing to talk about anymore. You should first put the mental. That's why I like the things from early days. Date for a freaking year.
Yeah.
Know each other really in and out, and before you make that step, because I mean, it's a commitment. I really should say, if you're married, you should try to stay married. But nowadays, it's the same. We set up our kids for losing, right?
Yeah.
We just talked about it. I mean, now they can't. Oh, any pressure? I want a divorce.
Yeah.
Good. You loved each other. Try to find that love back. At least, work for it. Isn't that what you're swearing? And you say, well, until death does us part. So I think that's the problem. People are weak, effeminate. We have effeminate men who are weak men who can't say no to their pleasures. Yeah, no, it's the truth. And it's
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's funny you're saying that, because me and my wife dated for about 6-7 years. We got married. We said, let's live together for a year and make sure we're compatible. And then we said, before we have kids, let's get a dog for a year, make sure we can take care of something. And that was the process before we started having kids. It was a process, and we did it. And now we're 18 years, going on 18 years, happily married. And it's funny because I'm the entrepreneur, go. She's the grounded, like the anchor at home. She's very grounded, very homely. My wife, I'm always new venture. My wife's very, I was just talking about this with somebody else this morning. And for my wife, she always says, if today didn't change, it was a good day. Yeah, it's about the simple life. That's memories, family, and that's all. That's all that matters, right? Health, memories, and family. So I love that. I know you got to run soon. I have 2 more questions, and then I'm going to bring in one of my staff, because one of my staff's a huge fan of yours, and it's his birthday tomorrow. I want him to ask a question to you. He has one question he's wanted to ask you, but I'll bring that at the end. 2 questions. Superpower. If you had one superpower, what would it be? Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Changing people's minds.
I love it.
Brain control.
Brain control.
So all the crap that we now see in the world, all the things with all the bad stuff, and I don't even want to touch on it, because the things that I see, it's through military, and it's the most horrible stuff. If you put it in movies, people are not going to believe it. And if you can get rid of people like that, by simply thinking about it, so we don't have to shoot them, but just, say, okay, hey, this is what you show them, what a decent person will be, and suddenly give them the full load of what they have done in the past. And those people are going to hurt. That's actually what's going to happen once we go up there, right? Then it's, you're going to be judged. So you have to watch out. Mind control, 100%, but for the good. I wouldn't try it for the bad. That's why it's good that I didn't have that 20 years ago, because I'm a different guy now.
Next question. If something were to happen to you today, in a few words, how would you want to be remembered or described by your loved ones?
You see, that's a good question, because I always ask that. That's actually what I say to my students. I said, before you start fighting and you're committing to a career or whatever you do, just always remember this. How do you want to be remembered? Henry Ford used to say that. How do you want to be remembered? And that should be the answer, should lay everything there. So yeah, I want to be remembered as a good guy, a guy who can overcome his weaknesses, vices, imperfections, not a slave to his passions and desires, a guy who's completely in control of himself, which right now I'm not, so I cannot be remembered like that, but that's what I would like to be, and that's what I'm working towards to. And a guy who's just always helping people. And then, is there for his friends and his loved ones. And then at the very end, it would be cool if there's just a little nippet to say, you know what, he was not a bad fighter either. You see, but that is not the focus. I think the focus should be on being just a decent person.
I love it. I love it. Your energy is so infectious. And there's many people that have that energy in person, and then they could actually portray it through screen, through TV, through photos. And your energy, doesn't matter what you do, it's always there. And it's such a gift you have. And I love that you're passing on. And man, I love everything you're doing, man. Congrats on your career, and so much more is still ahead to come, right? I'm going to put on our show notes how to get a hold of you. Is there anything else you want to leave with our audience before you go today?
No, just just be there, help people out, and don't question people. Don't assume things. That's what I always tell people. Assumption is the mother of all screw-ups. It was in the 97 the movie Under Siege with Steven Seagal. Somebody said it there, and it always stuck with me because it is.
Yeah.
And they did tests on this, and 95%, over 95%, everything that you assume in your heart is wrong. So, this guy probably did it. It's wrong. Oh, this guy did it's wrong. It's wrong. Stay away from assumption. Treat people with respect. Everybody's going to be happy. No more problems. That will be something.
Love it. I love it.